magic of summer stories turning into academic victories. I'm Dr. Emily Sherwood. If you're interested in reading engagement, and literacy, please like and subscribe. So, it's almost summer here in the United States. Schools here in the South will get out at the end of May, and then schools in the North, and parts of the West and Midwest will be in June. And a lot of students around this time of year start to get nervous. And they get nervous because they hear the word summer school. Because many school districts and schools offer summer school. And sometimes that's for students who need to pass classes, and that's traditionally how it is, but more and more we're seeing reading summer camps or reading summer schools. Certain states, including South Carolina and Tennessee, have this summer camp that students have to go to if they fail their reading test, their state reading test. And usually students just dread this. They want a break. And the reasoning behind a lot of summer schools is to put summer schools in areas that traditionally have a lot of poverty and have low academic achievement. And the research behind that is largely because of what's called the summer slide. So students who are in medium to high socioeconomic status homes, that means homes where there's adequate food, there's adequate income for what the students need, the students have opportunities. Those students actually gain 2 months worth of growth in they gain 1 month's worth of growth in reading during the summer. So those students actually improve their reading over the summer. And students who are in low-income families where there's not a lot of money, who may be living in poverty, generally lose 2 months of reading over the summer. And if you do that over 13 years, the amount of time a child's in school, that adds up to several years of reading. So that's one of the reasons why we have this achievement gap, which is where students whose families have more money do better than students who don't. And the traditional wisdom, what you would hear sometimes in the education world, is that these poor little students, they don't have anyone to help them at home. And, during the summer, they just don't have any help. And they just watch TV all day, and their parents aren't able to work with them or don't want to. And they need school. They need all the services that school survives. They need the food. They need the therapy sometimes. They need the structure. They need the teachers, because they just don't get that at home. It's a very negative outlook on these families. But the research actually shows that that's not why. Students who are from low socioeconomic families don't have access to books. It's such a simple thing, and such a thing that most people don't think of, because it seems simple that this problem is caused by literally access to books. That seems very simple compared to this really negative idea. But that's really what it is, because families who have the money and the time, because usually families have higher socioeconomic status have more free time. Families that are lower economic status often have to work hard, and they might have transportation issues. The families that are higher socioeconomic status are able to take children to libraries. They generally have reliable transportation, and they generally live in areas that have resources. They can take children to libraries. They can go to museums sometimes. But the main access is libraries and bookstores. They can go to the bookstore, they can order books, they can go to thrift stores and find books. They have the time and the resources to do that. Whereas students who are in low socioeconomic families generally don't have access to that. They may not have a library near them, and if they're rural, which many students in poverty are, that's something that's not talked about a lot in this country, but many students in poverty are rural. In the United States, it may be 20 miles to the nearest library, and you may not have a vehicle that can take you there reliably, or you may need to use that vehicle for necessary things because gas is so expensive. You can't afford to go all the time to the library. That may be very far away and may be very poorly stocked. It may not have a lot of books, and your parents don't have the money to buy books on Amazon, or they don't have the time to take you all over town looking even at thrift store books. There's just not a lot of access for books. And so there's been two studies about this that show this to be the case. And they've been pretty revolutionary. And I'm going to talk about these studies. And my disclaimer is that I actually worked on the second study, the one that was in Tennessee. I was very honored to be able to do that, to have that opportunity. So Dick Allington and Anne McGill Franzen, two preeminent scholars, and I had the chance to work with them again, very honored. They did a study in 2010 in urban Florida, inner city Florida, mostly Black students, minority students, and what they did was over 3 summers, some of the students got books. And some of the students were in a control group, so they got like sticker books. They got a prize, but they didn't get books. But the students who were in the treatment group, who chose the books, they got to choose 10 books. Now, the choice is very important here, that they got to choose. And they got books for 3 years in a row when they were in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade. And at the end of that, the researchers analyzed it to see if the students who got the sticker books, the control group, or if there was a difference between the students who were in the control group who didn't get books, or who got activity books, that's not very reading heavy, and the students who got to choose the book. And the results were amazing. What they found was that basically the summer slide was totally erased with these books. And that's important because there's also this idea out there that children won't read books, not supported, and that they won't read the books. You give them books, but they won't read them because their parents won't help them, their parents won't support, making a very negative outlook on these families that are often doing a great job just trying to do the best they can and often succeed against the odds. But the students read the books. And the difference was phenomenal. So the study was actually replicated. First study was in 2010. The second one, the findings came out in 2021. And I actually worked on that study in 20. And in that study, the same study was done in rural East Tennessee. Very, very different population. These were rural students, largely white students, mountain students, very different population, but again, mostly low-income schools and students. Same result. These students who got the books actually were able to, over the 3 summers, they were actually able to erase the achievement gap between poorer and richer students at these schools with the students who got the books. So in other words, after 3 summers, the students who got the books were at the same level academically as the students who were middle or upper class, who had more resources. So this is an amazing finding. And it's amazing when you consider the cost. For over 3 years, the cost to give the students books is only $200. And you think of how much it costs to staff and fund a summer school that students don't want to go to anyway, and they have books. And it points out several things. It points out that students will read when they have choice, when it's something they like, and something that they feel like they can read, because they get to choose the book. 2, it proves these families are actually not the reason why students are doing poorly. It's not the family's fault. And it's not because they're not supportive. It's not because they're not able to help. It's because of lack of access, lack of physical access to resources like books and access to get those books. And it really shows that there is hope to lessen the achievement gap. So I hope you found this uplifting and inspiring. And if you what do you think? Do you think something like this would work in your school, or have you done it in your school? Write in the description, in the comments, and I will get back to you. Thank you so much. Have a great day and keep learning.